I'm Ashley, live in Brighton at the moment. Just moved down from London, been skating for about 4 years. Yeah, have had to stop recently due to some new diagnosis stuff. I watched a film called Skate Kitchen. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like, it's actually, the film itself is cool, but it's basically a group of female skateboarders in New York, and I guess it was the first time I'd seen what it might be like to kind of be a skateboarder. I guess I didn't realise there was as much to it, in terms of the social thing, and just, yeah, I don't know, kind of got me into it from that. I also, when I started skateboarding, it kind of corresponded with me stopping drinking alcohol, and it was kind of almost like a replacement for that as well, in terms of the social side of things. So on a Friday night, instead of going to the pub, I'd be in the skate park, and that would be my new fix in terms of my new high. I feel it's skateboarding's the angel and the devil sometimes. For me, if I'm having a bad day, I can go skate and it can make me feel 100 times better. But equally, I feel skateboarding has, I think somebody that has quite an obsessive nature, it can get inside your head, and if you don't land that trick that day, that's gonna put if I go to skate before work and I don't land my trick, the whole day I'm down until I land it. It's
Okay, yeah, that makes...
it gets in your head. So there's definitely with the mental side, it's got two sides to the coin. So in the skate park, I was at Mile End one time, and there was a big group of girls skating together, and I was this isn't a coincidence. These guys didn't just meet each other here by accident. So I was skating with them and was are you guys together? What's the deal? Is there a WhatsApp group or something? So those guys added me to their WhatsApp, and yeah, it just kind of went from there really. That was before it was an official thing. It was just more of a way of skating with people, other other girls and stuff like that. Yeah. I feel there's two sides of being a female skateboarder. There's I feel sometimes you're kind of let off the hook a little bit, because being a beginner skateboarder as an adult, no one really expects you to be good. So turning up to the skate park and just doing your thing, it's almost you kind of get credit just for being there. Whereas I think if you're learning to skate as a male adult, I feel in some ways maybe that's harder, because there's almost a preconception that you're supposed to be good. It's kind of not a good thing that no one's really expecting you to be good, but it kind of almost lets you off the hook slightly. But then obviously also there's the kind of wider systemic cultural things about being a woman that I think prevent a lot of women from doing better in their skateboarding, because from a child we're kind of more mollycoddled and told not to be falling over and doing dangerous stuff. So there's always that sense of fear that I think maybe some guys don't really have, which is annoying, but yeah. In the 4 years that I've been skating, I had a fracture every year. And so I guess that last one was something's not right here. So after that fracture, I got something called a DEXA scan, and the DEXA scan looks at your bone density, and yeah, basically my bone density is not good. It's not osteoporosis, but it's a condition called osteopenia, which is brittle bones basically, and so I'm much more likely to break a bone than somebody else my age. So that essentially means that I've had to stop skating for the time being. I'm currently working on potentially trying to improve it, but it's not certain whether or not that's something that can be improved just yet. But I'm going to try. So I'm working with a specialist, and she actually works with Olympic athletes with eating disorders. So the problem with my diagnosis is that it was due to eating disorder that I had in my early 20s. And so it's kind of crazy because what caused it in the first place was exercise and diet, or the lack of diet, lack of nutrition and too much exercise. And the way of fixing it is the same. Potentially fixing it is improving my diet and exercise. So from the diet side of things, I've got to take calcium supplements, take loads of supplements. I've stopped being vegan, unfortunately, for the time being. Taking vitamin D supplements and exercising in terms of building muscle. So I've been weight training and running twice a week. But yeah, I think it's the tricky thing because it's obviously that, yeah, like I say, it's something that caused it issue in the first place. So I have to tread quite carefully when it comes to the exercise and stuff. But yeah, I think it's something that's always been there. Like, I think an eating disorder is something that's always, has always been there. But it was triggered after university. So as a student, I think quite a lot of people can relate to that. Like, you go to uni, or like mum's not cooking for you anymore, and like you're drinking loads, so maybe you put on like a little bit of weight here and there. And then someone showed me an app. There's an app called MyFitnessPal, and actually this is quite important because I feel like this is something that pretty much I can say caused my eating disorder, even though there might have been some tendencies there. But essentially that's the thing that really triggered it for me, and that's when it totally spiraled. So this app allows you to put what you've eaten, and you put in like what the exercise you've done, and like it kind of manages that and tracks that. And then through that kind of obsessive recording, that's when things kind of spiraled for me. And like I've kind of done some research online, and this is a really, really common story with this particular app. Like, it's kind of been the cause of eating disorders for many people. So for me, I think that was one of the big things. But again, like this obsessive thing, like I can see that in my skating as well. Like it's not just in the eating disorder. Like I get obsessed. Like I'll be like, I want to learn this trick, and I'll just do it every single day until I get it. So it's like my brain just kind of like tunes into this kind of like, I mean, I've not been diagnosed with OCD, but I think it's very common for people with eating disorders to have OCD. Definitely, for sure, because it then enables you to like connect with others who also have that same diagnosis, and you don't feel so alone anymore. So like, I don't know, I found it very difficult for a really long time to say it out loud that I had anorexia or had an eating disorder. But now looking back, like being able to label it is really useful, because it's like, it's an illness, it's not something that I chose. It's a part of me, but it's also something that happened to me. It's not something that I did to myself. Sorry, I'm like whacking the microphone. I've always loved the sea. Like, I always loved being in water. And even while I was skating, I was still really interested in surfing. Like the most recent trip when I broke my arm was in Morocco, and that was a surfing/skating trip anyway. Unfortunately, I didn't get to surf there because I broke my arm, but like, what was it, like 6 months later? That's actually where I got this t-shirt from. This is Tagazoot Skate Park. This is the place where I broke my arm. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so I went back there like 6 months later to do the surf trip. But yeah, for me, it's like surfing is kind of has been a bit of a godsend in terms of like not being able to skate, because obviously there's like less concrete involved. Like you can still injure yourself surfing, but like falling in the water, especially if I've just got a foam board, so like I'll be fine. But like it's not the same as skating by any means. It is totally different. But in terms of being able to like lock my brain into something new, something different, like that's what I need. That's what skating is for me. It's like always in the back of my head, what trick am I gonna learn next? Like when am I gonna get to skate next? Or like it's always in the back of my mind. And so now that's kind of it with surfing. It's just like I'm always thinking about surfing. Yeah, I'm literally like always on my phone looking where's the surf at today, looking at the surf cams. It's very sad. I feel like this is like what everybody says, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's like it's turning off from everything else. So like when you're skating or surfing and you're like fully just in the moment, focusing on what you're doing in your sport, you just like switch off from everything else that's around you, everything out, like your day at work or like anything that's been bothering you. It's just like, yeah, just shuts everything else out. It's crazy. I didn't anticipate that when I first started skating, because I think there's a big preconception with skateboarding that people think it's like a showing off type thing, or it's about like what you can prove to others or like other people watching you. And actually, it's nothing about that. It's like you and your board. And like when I'm in the skate park, I'm like, okay, if I see someone do a trick, I'm tapping my board, but generally I'm thinking about me. Like I'm not thinking about who's watching me. Or maybe if I land a trick, I'm like, did anyone see that? But like, for most, yeah, no one ever does, but for the most part, like, it's just you and your board. Like, my skating highlight was definitely last year going to Barcelona with the girls. There was like, from the Take It Easy crew, there was like, I don't know, 13 of us or something. Yeah, last summer went to Barcelona. There was like a couple of mums, they like left their kids at home and everyone just like, we were in a hostel, like there was like all of us in this tiny room. It was rad. It was so much fun. Yeah, it was like a week or something and we were just skating every day. It was lush. That was my highlight, I reckon. So in terms of the first part of your question, thinking about getting into skateboarding or surfing, well, because for me, getting into surfing is a really recent thing, and I've literally just had to do this myself. So it's like, the hardest part is like getting into the water or like going into the skate park. And so the easiest way of doing that is by finding other people that are like at a similar level or like a similar age maybe, and finding those people and growing together as a group. So like when I first started skating, I would go to Hop King Beginner's Night, which is like a bar. So like everyone that's the beginner there is an adult. So it was great. So I used to go there. That was like my first kind of like entry into like skating, because safety in numbers, isn't it? Like rocking up to the skate park when you've never skated before with your board is like terrifying. So yeah, definitely like find your people. And then yeah, same thing with surfing. I just like a few weeks ago was like, right, I need to find some other women to surf with because I can't skate. I've lost my girls. Like I used to skate with all my girls and I like need my people. So been like finding some like women's surf groups and like went to Newquay and like surfed with the girls there, and the Gower girls as well in Wales. I was there last week before. So yeah. Then the second part of your question was about eating disorders and I guess what to do if you're kind of resonating with some of the things I'm saying and like think maybe that's something that might apply to you. Just reach out, I guess. Like, speak to someone that you know and just let them know that it's something that you're going through. If there's if you feel like you're having problems with food or like over exercising, then just reach out, speak to somebody that you care about, and because that was the first step with me, was just like talking about it to my boyfriend and like my friends, and just that was like the first steps in like trying to fix things and get the wheels in motion, because if you don't tell anyone, then you're like alone, and that's really hard. Just more surfing. So more surfing. I want to surf as much as I can this summer. Unfortunately, I've got to get my plate out of my arm though. That's coming out in the next few months, so hopefully not too soon. Hopefully I'll be able to get some more surfing before that comes out, because once that's out I won't be able to surf for a bit. And just continuing with my really fun regime of like doing weights every morning and like eating really healthily, I guess. But yeah, we'll get there. Hopefully my bones get stronger again. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be skating again. There's kind of like two sides to being a female. Oh, hey, dude. Hey.